fit in. There weren't many girls who looked like me or who were the children of immigrants or who sat down for dinner every night at 9 p.m. Indian families tend to eat late. At the same time, I felt almost no allegiance to India. Whenever I visited, my family there referred to me as the American-born cousin, who in India was named Erica. Caught between two cultures, I went inside myself. Often you would hardly know if I was in the room. In school, I was shy, quiet, more an observer than a participant. Raising my hand or calling attention to myself was unimaginable to me. I did well in school and on tests, but the comments in every report card I received from kindergarten to 12th grade said the same thing. I wish Erica spoke up more. As a girl pivoting between the thickly accented English of my parents and my own bad Hindi, and wanting to feel like I belonged somewhere, I developed a few tricks, one of which was the ability to decipher other people's body language. Body language offered the key to understanding the foreign worlds around me. I became obsessed with decoding my classmates' signals and cues, no matter how subtle. Tone, pacing, pauses, gestures. The popular girls walked around with their heads high, shoulders pulled back, almost literally looking down on the rest of us. The older kids showed their disinterest by slouching during school assemblies, their eyes turned to the ground or each other, never to the adult speaking. At home, I would hole up in my room watching Bollywood movies on my family's old VCR, focusing on the actors' faces and hands instead of on the storyline. Hindi was still alien to me, rewinding over and over again, trying to understand what was being said by observing the actors' nonverbal cues. My preoccupation with translating nonverbal cues soon became a source of power as I learned to mimic the body language of my more confident peers and decoded what my Hindi-speaking family members were saying with their furrowed brows. After September 11th, virtually everyone who looked like me in America was suddenly treated with instant suspicion in public spaces. One afternoon around that time, my father was waiting to pick me up at the local YMCA after tennis practice. Someone behind the front desk panicked. My dad looked suspicious, I guess, and called the police. For the next 45 minutes, my father fielded questions from the officers, politely explaining that he worked as a cardiologist at a nearby hospital. I looked on as he sat behind a table speaking patiently with the officers, his eye contact direct, his palms wide open, signaling his respect to the officers and his understanding of why this was happening. I could also tell by his flushed cheeks that he was embarrassed. A few months later, my dad donated a significant percentage of his income that year to the 9/11 fund. I remember being angry at the police, but also at my father. How could he respond with kindness to what I saw as racial profiling and ignorance? Patiently, my father asked my siblings and me, wouldn't it be better to consider what other people might be thinking and feeling instead of responding with indignation or rage, to put ourselves in their shoes? That was an inflection point for me. A day I began thinking harder about how humans convey empathy via body language and what it can accomplish. My interest in nonverbal communication continued in college, where I read every book on the subject I could find. Later, I called on my growing expertise professionally when I began teaching public speaking. Being able to understand and classify cues and signals, along with the poise and confidence this skill gave me, helped me win internships and eventually ridiculously competitive job opportunities. All of this despite my father's insistence that Indian Americans couldn't succeed in business and that I should instead focus on occupations like medicine or engineering, where Indians at least had a tradition of success. But I persevered, and it seemed to pay off. My preoccupation with body language gave me the confidence to teach courses in leadership as a graduate student and later as a teaching fellow at both Harvard and MIT. It motivated me to start my own business before I was 30, which I was able to scale from a what-if idea into a global company, despite having no clue what I was doing or any media experience, investors, or connections. Before I knew it, I was addressing global leaders at the World Economic Forum, getting interviewed by Good Morning America host Robin Roberts, becoming a sought-after keynote speaker by CEOs and top executives, and teaching 21st century